What's up, guys? It's Becca Switzer with Roof Sales Mastery and author of Diamonds in the Sky. And today we're going to actually talk about the sales opportunity because I get a lot of questions from people who say things like, hey, Becca, I'm being recruited by this roofing company and they're saying that I can make all this money. But right now I'm in a job that while I hate it and I'm not making a ton of money, it's paying the bills, it feels safe, it feels secure. I need an extra push. Like, is it worth it for me to leave this secure job, quote unquote, to try to chase the roof sales thing? And so I get that question a lot. And another related question to that is people will say, well, would it be worth it for me to do this part-time? So I want to address these questions, not just with advice or opinions, but with some actual physical numbers here, tangible numbers that we can look and go, okay, does it make sense? So what I've done is I just kind of wrote this out before I started recording this. And let's say that you're a typical employee, American worker, and you work around 40 hours a week for some company as an employee for 50 weeks out of the year. Let's say you get 2 weeks of vacation or something like that. Well, that's 2,000 working hours per year. So that breaks down to roughly, let's say you're making $20 an hour, okay, before taxes and all that. So that's the current income opportunity that you have at your current job. Then you look and you say, okay, what's the roof sales opportunity? And the roof sales opportunity, well, the average sale is going to put somewhere between $1,000, $1,500 in your pocket. I'm going to use super conservative numbers here just to make it safe, okay? So let's just say that it's $1,000, even though it's a lot of times a little bit more than that. So what would you need to do to replace your current income of $40,000 a year doing the sales gig? Well, if it's a $1,000 average commission, so per deal you're getting about $1,000, you would need 40 deals to eclipse that $40,000 per year that you're making right now at your employee job, okay? So that breaks down to less than one job per week. Less than one deal a week. It's actually 0.8, okay? So let's just round that up and say you need to get one deal per week to cover that. What would that take? What does that look like? All right, so I broke down numbers that I think are pretty accurate and representative of what it would take to create those results. And it kind of looks like this. Let's say that in order for you to keep one deal, to actually get paid out a commission on one job, you actually have to, for each week, line up 5 inspections. And let's say out of those 5, you actually end up completing 4 of them. Maybe one person cancels or no-shows or who knows what happens. Let's say that you've got a pretty mediocre 50% closing average to begin with, okay? That means that out of those 4 that you completed, you'd keep 2, all right? And let's say out of those 2, or you sign 2, I'm sorry. So you sign those 2, and then out of those 2, you keep one of them. Maybe one of them doesn't get approved or whatever happens, it falls through the cracks. So out of those 5 that you initially lined up, you completed 4, you signed 2, you kept 1 solid deal and got paid out on that. What does it take to get that? Let's go further. So in order to line up 5 inspections each week, let's say that you have to knock about 50 doors. So knocking 50 doors, and I'm being super conservative again, let's say that you're spending 5 minutes per door on average, which it should be less than that probably. Like even walking between houses and stuff like that, some people you're only going to talk to for 2 minutes. Some people is going to be 3, 4, 5, something like that. But let's just say it's 5 minutes. So 50 doors at 5 minutes a door equals 215 minutes per week that you're spending knocking. That breaks down to about 4 hours of door knocking for the week. Super easy. You do 2 hours on a Monday, you do 2 hours on a Saturday or something like that. So each of those inspections, you set aside 5 hours. So if you lined up 5, you set aside 5 working hours for each of those. Then you've got paperwork, let's say, for the 2 that you got signed, and that takes you an hour per claim. So let's say that's another 2 hours. Then you end up doing the adjuster meeting. Let's say that's 45 minutes each. By the way, a lot of you salespeople aren't even going to have to do that. It stops at the adjuster meeting. Somebody else deals with it. So a lot of you are stopping there, which would actually be 11 hours total to get that one deal, okay? So to make $1,000 for the week, you do 11 hours of work, which is, in case you're not following here, a quarter of a full-time week schedule of 40 hours a week, all right? So let's say that you do actually complete the adjuster meeting yourself. That's about 45 minutes per 2 of those, so that's another 90 minutes or an hour and a half. Then you've got a meeting, let's say, for the final contract, which takes 30 minutes. You go over the final paperwork, get the actual like amount that you're going to be collecting at the end. Let's say that, and then after that, you have to do the collections, the final invoice, any supplementing, and that takes you another 90 minutes. That means that worst case scenario, for you to get paid that $1,000, you're spending 16 hours that whole week to get $1,000. That's still part-time. Okay, that's compared to 40 hours a week. All right. On the best case scenario, maybe you're working for a company that they don't make you do everything cradle to grave. You knock the door, you sign the deal, and then you pass it off. 11 hours to get that $1,000. Okay, so those are the numbers. So if you're somebody that's going, you know, I've got a regular job, I'm working 40 hours a week, doesn't make sense for me to do the roof sales thing. Yes, okay? It's not that hard to replace your income. In fact, you can replace your $40,000 a year with 11 hours a week, 11 to 16 hours a week easily. And again, I'm using very conservative numbers here for that. So then let's say that you're considering doing it, but you're still a little bit nervous to just totally pull the plug on your current job and dive in feet first. Here's what I would say. Do it part-time, but dedicate that 11 hours a week. Okay, so if right now you're working Monday through Friday for 40 hours, then where can you fit in 11 more hours? All right, maybe you work a Saturday for 5 hours, and then you work a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you add a couple hours in there. That's not gonna like totally break your schedule. And if you can do that and then realize that, holy shit, I'm making $1,000 a week doing this, then you can have the confidence to step away from your other job. Because if you can say, all right, I'm only working 11 to 16 hours a week doing this part-time, and I'm replacing my income that I'm spending 40 hours doing, why wouldn't you just quit your other job, do this full time, and probably triple or quadruple your income? So here's the thing, okay, when it comes to sales, and this isn't just for roof sales, by the way, you guys. In fact, I just had a great phone call with one of my good personal friends who's not actually in the roofing industry, but you know, he used to do sales for a while, got out of it earlier, like in his 20s, and for the last few years has been doing like inside software sales or something like that, which he hates. And he's like, you know, it's called sales, but it's really not sales. I'm sitting at a desk, I'm answering phones, I'm doing all that. And I think what happens to a lot of people is they get sucked into the idea that a regular job is secure. Okay, so they look at it and they go, well, but at least I might hate it and I don't have control over my schedule, but at least I know I'm going to get paid. Okay, but why do you have a job in the first place? The first thing you guys are going to say is to make money. All right, why? Well, because I want to be able to do the things that I want to do. Okay, so you're making money at this job, but how often do you actually get to take 2 weeks off when you say, I want to go to Mexico. I want to go to this music festival. I want to go and do this. I don't want to work today. Just don't feel like it. You can't. You don't have that kind of freedom. You might be getting paid, but you're trading that for complete lack of autonomy. You don't get the freedom of choosing your own schedule. And you have a ceiling. Maybe you're making, let's say, $60,000 a year or even $90,000 a year, and you're like, that's pretty good. Okay, but if tomorrow I say, do you want to skip town and go to Vegas? Well, I've used up all my PTO. Okay, what if you say, I want to buy a new car, it's going to be 25 grand. What do? Well, I guess I'm just going to have to keep working and then spend less. That's what happens at a job, right? You can't just, you can only work so many hours, okay? And you can only work the hours that you're given at a company. In sales, it's not like that. There is no ceiling. There's no limit. It's like, do you want to make $400,000 this year? Okay, how many deals would you need to get? Go get those, okay? And you can improve. You have total control over that. You know, one of the things that I loved when I first started doing sales at all, a lot of you know I used to do Cutco cutlery. And in Cutco, I remember thinking like, oh, if I want a new iPhone, for example, it's going to cost me $1,000, let's say. I just need to go, I knew what my average deal was, and I'm like, so I probably need to go get 2 more sales this week. So this week, I could do X amount more appointments, probably make that $1,000 in a couple days, go buy myself a new phone. That was fun, because I was in total control of it. You know, and then when I was selling roofs, it was like, man, I really need, if you've heard my story about the cars that I drove in the beginning of my sales career, you'll laugh at this, but I wanted to get a Jeep. It's like, all right, well, how much is a new Jeep going to cost me? And used, new to me. And it was like 25 grand. I'm like, all right, well, my average, commission's like $1,500, so do the math, whatever that's going to be. I could do that in a month, and I did. I definitely remember having like $23,000, $24,000 paychecks. It's like, well, there's my Jeep. I'm going to go get it in a month. You can't do that at a regular job. What are you going to do? Well, just clock in a couple minutes early every day and clock in a couple minutes late. Doesn't work like that, right? So think about that. If you're somebody that's considering, the independent contractor life or the sales job life, as long as you have the right support or training and you have like a decent personality and you don't smell like sauerkraut, you can do sales. And if you've got somebody that you are watching do really well at the roof sales gig, hopefully by now you've done enough research, you can see that the industry really does offer an incredible opportunity. And if you have the training, you can go out and the world is your oyster. It's so easy to go out. You can literally go out and sell $1 million in roofs and take home 6 figures in 6 months if you want to. Okay? So if you're feeling a little bit nervous, I hope that the math we just went over, and if you want to listen to the video again and just write those numbers down so you can see it on paper in front of you, you can easily replace that income. But it starts with you believing in it, and you can't half-ass it. Just decide. Go, all right, obviously this works. Other people are doing it. If I commit myself to this, I know I can make way more. You can easily replace your income, and then you can double, triple, quadruple your income if you really start kicking ass and really commit to it. So I hope that helps. I know there's a lot of you guys out there because I get emails all the time. Becca, do I do it? What do you think? Here's where I am. This is what I'm doing right now for a job. Do you think that I should do this sales thing? And my answer is honestly yes, unless you're somebody that like can't look somebody in the eye, doesn't have reliable transportation, whatever, like the big obvious ones. Leave your dead-end job that you hate. Get in total control of your schedule and your financial freedom and try it. Worst case scenario, there's always another dead-end hourly job out there for you. And by the way, I'm not talking shit on people who do hourly jobs. It's just when I hear from you guys, it's because you feel that you're in a dead-end hourly job. So that's what we're kind of referring to here. Try it. Get good training. And again, you guys, I promise, if you have the recipe to do the roof sales thing, it is like shooting fish in a barrel if you're trained properly. Get yourself training, get out there, make some money. Lots of people are doing it. You can be one of them. As always, subscribe to the YouTube channel here. Visit my website, www.roofsalesmastery.com, if you would like to check out training and stuff like that. I will catch up with you guys later. Keep it classy. Go make some money. We'll talk to you later. Bye.